Hey guys, King of Charmers here to be your judge, your jury, and your analyst, and today I bring to you the top/best Open Ultra League according to the data. So top performers came out recently. PvPoke, our Lord and Savior, updated the top performers, and this happens to come out as the #1 team. It is Talonflame, and then you have Trevenant, Walrein. So yeah, it's not as spicy as you think it is. However, this combination is incredibly powerful. Walrein Trev course still dominates Open Ultra League just because it's such a powerful combination. And in renditions, if you look over here, it's at 1.1% at 574. So 574 is a pretty ridiculous, well, anything over 550 is really dang good. This team uses Talonflame, Trev, and Walrein, so it's just proves that the Trev Walrein core is still insanely overpowered and insanely strong. In fact, if you look over here, if you do see it, it is at a 1.1% usage. So it's not a super spicy team, but it is statistically the most powerful one. So it's really strong team, really powerful. Talonflame's pretty accessible as far as it's been out for a while. And if you've been playing around a lot, you should have an XL version, and it did have its own community day. So Talonflame XL, this is Trevenant and the Walrein core. Of course, the other two have been out for not a minute, I would say, but you definitely have for Ultra League, you should have already them built. So yes, this is a powerful team. I think for this team, I think Trev is the safe switch, but you can also switch in a Walrein. You're gonna see me kind of either just do outright play and win the lead just with fancy plays, or I'm going to be really good about switching out. So you're gonna see me do some really fancy switching and then some really calculated plays with this team. So yes, that's just because I play Talonflame so much. So yeah. But before we get started, my therapist mental health tip for the day. So today is called strengths. Alright, so a lot of y'all are like, I don't think I can make legend. You can make legend. I promise you can. A lot of people can make legend on their second season. I made on my first one if you put in the effort and the time to battle. The problem with this game is if you're going to go ahead and you need to know a whole lot. You need to know a lot if you're going to create really fancy win conditions, but other than that, you should, even if you just generally play, you should be able to go ahead and do very well, which is a strength. The good thing about being a human being is that you can fail. If you could succeed all the time, it'd be boring because you'd have nothing to work on. So for this, I give you a strength exploration. So what are your strengths and how do you use your strengths effectively? Not very often, not when when I do therapy sessions. Whenever I do therapy sessions, you always key in and ask what your strengths are. Like, are you good at making friends? Do you have a talent that you like doing, putting your time and effort into? Like for me, it would be making YouTube videos, or rather making content. Like, even though I hate this game to oblivion and what it doesn't affect me, and I have y'all as my community. Since I love my community, I do this for y'all. This is my service to you and everybody else that watches my content. But yes, here's the strengths worksheet, and it seems a little like, wow, this is really basic, but no, it's actually really valuable. So, using your strengths effectively, it's important to have a clear idea of what they are and how they can be used. Some of your greatest strengths might be easy to recognize, while others go unnoticed because they feel ordinary to you. Just like this therapist mental health tip, it feels ordinary, but it's actually really important that you identify your strengths and know what your strengths are, not just mentally, physically, etc. There's a lot of things that have strengths. So yes, you can have a ton of weaknesses, and sometimes when you're depressed or everything like that, more often not, everything is hopeless because all you think is bad and there's a whole bunch of negative. But once you start thinking about the positive things you actually have as you as an individual, not this blanket positivity where you just put away everyone else and not acknowledge or empathize with someone's individual situation, what's going on, but also their strengths. Realizing your client's strengths as a therapist for me is very valuable because now you can pull yourself and manage without me, because you either go to those coping mechanisms or you use those talents that you have to make sure and remind yourself that you are in fact strong. So there's a bunch of strengths from these choices below if you want to use this worksheet. I do recommend you use it. I've used it once and it goes to different aspects. So this worksheet will help you identify our strengths in ways you're already actually using them, because often than not we take our strengths for granted because we're kind of just like a machine, you know, we just keep on going, and that's life. You have your routine, you do your routine, or you can use this to remind yourself, hey, you got a lot of good strengths. So for me, I'm really strong at my subconscious for Go Battle League, where this thing doesn't affect me, so I don't really maul or anything like that nowadays. That's a good strength. And there's a huge list of strengths here like wisdom, empathy, enthusiasm, modesty, etc. So you can use this. The worksheet has its own, and then it helps you explore your strengths. For relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, and family. Sadly, King of Charmanders doesn't really know what romantic relationships right now, but you know what? That's okay. It's okay. I got plenty of friends. I got plenty of friends, all right? Start crying inside. You know? Yeah. More on that later. And then you also have your profession, and then after profession, you also have personal fulfillment. So these three basic dimensions of your life are things that you visit every day. So look at your strengths, and if you feel like you're doubting yourself or you're not really strong, go back, put this on the wall, look at what you actually achieve, or go back and do this like every week or so. For me, I did it every week with one of my clients, and it worked a lot for them, so I recommend you do it for you. And yes, if you keep trying for Go Battle League, you are in fact very, very strong. So hopefully you use this worksheet. Hopefully this really helps you out, and this is the best Open Ultra League team for Season 11. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, here are the battles. I faced like 3 different freaking San Francisco. You're gonna see. Here's Walrein number 1, and the reason I'm saying number 1, there's a lot of Walreins in this Calcast. As you see here, we get the Shadow Walrein, and I'm kind of confused as to really what to do here. Walrein beats Talonflame convincingly, unless there's like a 6-turn difference, and there's not a lot of room for error here. So your opponent can have 2 choices. One, they want to either keep their Walrein in the lead, or they sack it, because you're gonna get at least 2 flame charges in if you're the Talonflame user, which is me. So we managed to get a second one through. We're gonna fire this flame charge, and then what's gonna happen here is my opponent's either gonna do one, elect to let it go, or they're going to shield. So they do shield, and I'm like, okay, cool. And here's what's strange. As you see here, that extra, these 2 extra, because I got 2 extra incinerates through fast moves, I try to catch, but that's perfectly fine, because I recognized after this, I was like, if you get 2 extra incinerates through and your opponent fires on the wrong interval, you can actually get to a 3rd flame charge and you win the lead. So that's you can win this lead, but it's very, very wonky like you saw here. They send in their Machamp, but the thing is, I got Trev for Machamp, and then I still have a full Walrein. So that's the thing. If you play Walrein versus Talonflame, Talonflame loses, and there's a 6-turn difference. So in other words, you have to get 2 incinerates through their charge moves, and then you should be able to get to a 3rd flame charge and then win out the match like this one. So it's really hard. It's because you have to bank that your opponent fires on the wrong interval, and that's how you win out the match. So as you see here, my opponent just sends in Walrein, and then Trevenant, and all we're gonna do is send in Walrein, mirror up with it. All we have to do is fire this Weather Ball. This Machamp should not have any energy for another Rock Slide, and it shouldn't have enough for a Cross Chop either. So they're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. They need 1 more counter to get to a Cross Chop, but we already have a Seed Bomb bank. So all we're gonna do is unleash the Seed Bomb, fire off from our evil Ghost Tree from Lord of the Rings. I'm just kidding. Lord of the Rings is a great franchise. Or maybe The Hobbit. No, both of them are together. No, but I like Lord of the Rings. Twin Towers is an amazing movie. And I would hate to have an army of trees trying to take over my castle. If you watch that movie, you know what I mean. If you had an army of Trevenants trying to take over the world, that'd be pretty damn terrible. Anyways, we got Walrein into Talonflame again! Oh my god. It's just like if you watch the anime Ray Zero, or like there's several renditions of a person dying and coming back to life, and starting off from where they died off, if you know what I'm talking about. And this is pretty much gonna happen a lot, like I mentioned during the Shellcast. I'm gonna try to do the same thing I did before, where I get 2 extra incinerates through, and then I can get to a 3rd flame charge. However, and it's actually working out. Make sure you fire on really good intervals, because you do not want any Talonflame user to get any extra incinerates. Because everything worked out the way it did, I should be able to get the 3rd incinerate now. So flame charge goes through, and what's even worse, my opponent doesn't shield. So I managed to get 1 extra incinerate through and get more energy, and my brain is just like, why would you do that? Yeah, why would you do that? But it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you don't know. If you don't shield the second flame charge, yes, you're gonna get killed by the last incinerate that goes through. I managed to get to 2 more incinerates here, which is I mean 2 more flame charges, which is great, because this should prompt my opponent to shield now, because it's gonna do a lot of damage now that my Talonflame is like +3 or +4. All we're gonna do is send in Walrein here. Walrein is very thick for open Ultra League, so it's able to take a decent amount of punishment, which is why it's so godforsakenly overpowered. We're just gonna eat. I'm just gonna force my opponent to throw all their energy here. There's really no point in letting them do anything else. Just let them just throw all your energy, and then we're gonna go ahead and just keep balling out. Absolute balling out like Slam Dunk, which is a great anime, by the way. Slam Dunk is a good anime, but it's a basketball anime. So I watch sports animes, but I'm not gonna tell you the last sports anime I watched because it's not really PG. But you know, it's nothing bad. It's a legit anime. It's just a very, very interesting anime. So yes. But as you see here, they send in Talonflame. So my brain is like, wait a minute, isn't this the, like... So this is the former top-ranked team. This team used to be number 1. It was the former one. It was Walrein, Trevenant, Talonflame, I believe. That was the old team that used to be number 1. And it still does really well. And it theoretically should beat my team unless my opponent just really jacks up their play like they did before. All we're going to do is we're going to let our Walrein go, and as you see at this point, all we really have to do is shield this and shield this flame charge, and then all we have to do is Shadow Claw down. I don't have to throw a move, and because my opponent didn't decide to use their shields for their Walrein, as you see, all we have to do is just Shadow Claw down, and that's my win condition. If you're really good at identifying, especially Talonflame, because it's kind of, well, I do it subconsciously, so I don't really count. But if you're really good about keeping track, then you can kind of figure out when you can just do those fast move win conditions like you see there. Which is pretty easy to track when it comes to Talonflame and Incinerate users, because 5-turn fast moves take forever to register. So we get Trevenant into Talonflame, and as you see here, we do win the 2-shield pretty convincingly, unless they double debate us with C-Bomb. I'm going to fire my Brave Bird here, and that's kind of a mistake. Because what's going to happen is Icicle Spear goes through, and I'm going to send in Walrein now. This kind of sucks, but our Walrein is on even intervals. So we should be on even intervals, or they're 1 over like you see here. But we do have shield advantage, which is great. So I should be able to win this going straight Earthquake, unless my opponent just calls baits, but I won't normally bait in this scenario. I'll just go straight Earthquake if you have shield advantage, because what you can do in this scenario is I could fire another Earthquake. If they don't shield it, it goes through, it kills. Or I can send in Trevenant and farm down, get a bazillion energy on my opponent's Walrein. I choose the Earthquake here, and then, shield the Earthquake here, and then I'm going to Earthquake. So, I had a hunch my opponent was going to Earthquake again. It wouldn't have KO'd in that scenario, but I did want Walrein decently healthy because that Trevenant's still in the back. So, because of this, Walrein does outpace Trevenant it does outpace Trevenant, so with Icicle Spear, just because it's a 5-4-5 and you don't have to go 5-5-5 like you do with Trevenant, which would be the normal interval. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to let my own Walrein go here. I'm going to send in Talonflame, and they happen to get a Swampert, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. I had a hunch my opponent was doing some kind... This is just an ABB team. Yeah. So I had a hunch my opponent was hiding away their water type because of the fact that... Yeah. They were hiding away just because I sent in Talonflame. Normally you would send in your water type, but as you see here, Trevenant is so overpowered for Open Ultra League. All I gotta do is double up on C-Bombs, and then I can get the GG. I'm gonna take this I'm gonna shield this second Hydro Cannon, but all I'm gonna do is just overcharge here. Their Trevenant's energy dry, so all I have to do is just get ahead on energy, and they shouldn't be able to get to another C-Bomb. As you see here, perfectly calculated. We got to a C-Bomb first just because we overcharged just a little bit, and that's game. So yes, you get a little bit of energy management goes a long way. And unfortunately, even though I have a really crappy Trevenant, like you see here, it's like rank 56 and it's almost a hundo, it still does really well. So even if you don't have XL Trev, or it's not the greatest of IVs, as you see here, it could still do a lot of work. And Open Ultra League is a little more forgiving if you're using the non-XL variation. So, and mine is lucky too. One of my friends traded it to me. Let me take a look. Right, it's one of my best friends traded me. One of my best friends traded me. His name's Kyle. He's super cool. He's a cool dude. And I was like, yo, it's always great when you spend less candy and dust for things. We lose this lead against Dragonite, and I managed to catch this Dragon Claw. I was trying to finesse my opponent, and the finesse did in fact happen. Now that Dragonite is energy dry, and we get Magnezone, which is actually pretty interesting. Because my opponent has two choices here. One, you can try to mirror shot me to death, or Wild Charge. Then what I can do is I can send in Talonflame to farm down here. I'm gonna grab at least one shield in this scenario. As you see, I'm just gonna go straight for the Earthquake. If they don't shield, they die. If they shield, we put them to the zeros, as you see here. Talonflame versus Dragonite is terrible. You lose this lead. So the fact that we were able to catch that move and make that Dragonite energy dry is amazing. Now, all I have to really do here is just make sure I time my Incinerates correctly so they don't get any fast moves through. And as you see here, they fire the Wild Charge. They're -4. That Incinerate I went through is going to do big damage, and we should be able to farm down. So my opponent has two choices. One, send in whatever's in the back, or send in the Dragonite, and we get an Ampharos. And my brain is like, is this an Ultra Premier Cup team? I don't know. But don't ask me why I Brave Bird. Okay? That was a mistake. I was like, why did I Brave Bird? Why did I Brave Bird? So I was like asking myself, I was like, this is a mistake. I was like, why did I burp? Like, seriously, Flame Charge was the answer there, but it's perfectly fine. All I'm gonna do is just overcharge a little bit. I'm gonna fire off this Shadow Ball. I should be able to get to a Seed Bomb, and then that's gonna just KO their Ampharos anyway. So my opponent's either gonna top left, or they're going to play it out, and they do in fact top left, and that's GG's. That's game, bro. Dang, dude. Dang. We lost that knee, but finessing and catching that Dragon Claw was incredibly valuable. We got a final match here, and this is a rank 15, and I'm like, wow, dude, this guy's doing insanely well, because if you're well, it's hidden Elo. If you're starting out from the beginning, well, for those of you that are new to Go Battle League, your Elo's actually registering, it just doesn't show. So it's just hidden, which is a really dumb concept in my opinion. So yeah, it just doesn't show you anything, which is why, yeah, it's really dumb. So we get another Walrein. You already know how we usually play this out. You have two choices. One, if you're able to get two Incinerates through, you can win out switch, or you can win the lead. If you don't, then they win the lead. I'm going to shield this second Icicle Spear, and I make a critical mistake here. So this is where I really jack up, because I should have theoretically sacked Talonflame in the lead here, but you're going to see how I finesse this matchup. I try to catch an Icicle Spear, and I already know I'm off interval, so this was a terrible mistake in general. I'm going to shield the second Icicle Spear, and then I'm trying to get one extra Incinerate through, and then I send in my Walrein. The bad thing here is I'm going to eat an Earthquake, but my Talonflame might be able to pull off something. So I already lose the lead in general. It didn't work out like the last two Walrein encounters. This is the one where I actually lose, and I wasn't able to actually like register or like calculate correctly. So this is where I misplay terribly. But I can, if you misplay, just come back and then find your win conditions. I never stress about misplaying, because I'm like, all right, you know what, you got to make up for it anyways. The good thing is, now my Walrein here has a bazillion energy, and we're going to be able to throw all this energy against this Talonflame. One Flame Charge won't actually KO at this range. So I should be able to get to one more Icicle Spear. And then what happens here is that I can send in my Talonflame, and then it should equalize on the interval. And if I'm on the right, if I win CFP, because when it's it's random, or because of the order. And as you see here, my intuition is correct, and I managed to get an Incinerate, denying them from firing their move and getting that last bit of energy off. So we're in a somewhat of a good spot now. And they send in a Giratina. I am praying they don't catch, and I was like, okay, I caught it. So they threw it on the wrong interval. I should be able to get to a Brave Bird here, and then I can send in Trevenant, and behold, this sweet 5-0 came to fruition. That does big damage, and as you see, +1 with Brave Bird will put you in the yellow. All I have to do is send in Trevenant. This Giratina needs 3 moves to kill me, and that's GG's. You need 3 Shadow Sneaks if you want to KO a Trevenant, and my opponent knows it's over, so they just top left because they know it's game. I hope y'all enjoyed the battles. This is the most powerful, the best Open Ultra League team as of this moment, and as you see, it gets me this sweet 5-0. This is my first time using it, and it worked out really, really well, and this is 10,000 wins for me in Go Battle League. I don't know how I got this far, considering this game is so godforsakenly broken, but I hope y'all enjoyed the battles, and I hope you enjoyed this shotgun. And that's GG's. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of data and the little bit of kind of like, yeah. I play Talonflame way too much Ultra League, but Open Ultra League is actually my favorite league because the meta is pretty stable. Well, it was stable up until Trevenant and Walrein came out and until Talonflame came out. Literally, those 3 Pokemon destroyed the meta and caused it to absolutely just get run over by these bunch of ridiculousness. I'm also kind of surprised I didn't see like a Deoxys Defense XL or a Registeel XL because those are pretty plentiful, but I guess people are just defaulting to Walrein Trev, which is factually incredibly powerful and yeah, they're really freaking strong, okay? But yes, they're really good, and I hope this team does help you out. They've been out for a minute, so if you want to use this team, it's really good, and you can come out with a lot of win conditions. Here it gets me the sweet 5-0, so I hope y'all enjoyed using it. And unless you want to play GoFest Catch Up, this is kind of your only option right now. I still kind of don't get why all 3 leagues aren't available at one given time, or where we don't have an unranked mode, but this is Niantic, so I'm talking about, so it's okay. But yes, I hope y'all enjoy your GoFest. You have a good GoFest. I will be going to GoFest Seattle, so y'all probably see me do some videos on that once it comes, but that's not till next month. Other than that, I hope y'all are enjoying Go Battle League so far. Hopefully you're doing well, and hopefully you are starting off at a high elo so you can quickly make Legend. Or if you are not yet, you still have plenty of time. So yes, put in those skills, put in those studies if you want to become a GBL Legend. And remember, an important thing about being a GBL Legend is you can beat other GBL Legends or leaderboarders. You may not think about it, but you probably have beaten a Legend or a leaderboard or a #1 at one point. Nobody has an 100% win ratio. This game isn't that deep. It really isn't. You can beat them, and you will beat them, and you probably have beaten them. So without further ado, good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you on the next video.